No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No. So in the deception part of this, he is using that. So that and the last part of music is harmony. So melody is sequential based, which is where his temptation methodology comes out. Rhythm part of music is pattern timing based, which is where his deception comes out. His deceptions are pattern forming, and there's about timing. So think about that. Whenever someone's think about, don't lie to you. I won't lie. I'll be honest with you. I've been deceived before in my life, and I can tell you, looking knowing what I know now, what I just understand now, I can see how I was deceived because of the timing, what was happening in my life, and the patterns that I had already fallen into. Let me give you an example of this. I was in a retail spot long ago when the pattern in this stupid brain of mine was like, oh, I'll just do what I have to do to work hard. I'll just work hard to show God that I'm going to work hard. Everything I do, put my best foot forward. I was doing that. What was I doing at home? Not spending time with God and His Word. And I knew that. But I was justifying it by saying, but I have to do all this work. They're working me like a dog. I was on salary. I got to work hard. So I did that. And so when all of a sudden I did something that was not wrong, but not right. It was kind of a gray area of doing something that it was like a unspoken thing of you could do these discounts for people, no problem. You just can't do them directly for your own family. But for everybody, I was like, where's the camera? I said, look, I'm doing it because there's nobody free to help me right now. The cashiers were all busy, so my family had to get. I didn't want them to wait too long. I said, I'm just going to do this out loud. I'm going to do this, okay? Nothing secretive. I'm going to do it, okay? So I did it. So everything was open. Everything was. But I just did the right thing the wrong way. That was one. First mistake was not living the right way, the pattern. Secondly, I did the right thing the wrong way. And then thirdly, when they asked me about it, guess what? I lied. I said, no, I didn't do that. And then within a minute, I said, oh my, what am I doing? And I called him back right away. Sorry, I did that. I did. Why? I said no. That's stupid. Under the pressure, I said no. And then he goes, you're fired. And I go, fired? You can fire me for that. You tell me I quit. So that's what happened. True story. True. Happened to me years and years and years ago. True story. So you're like, what? So you can be deceived because why? Because the pattern of my life was already making me susceptible. Then there was the timing of the situation and the store. And Satan went, jerk! And he exploited me. But it's my fault. I put myself in that situation. I was in a bad pattern of my life, and the timing then was easily snatched up by him to go, in your face, sucker. And he got me good. Got me real good. Bad testimony. Horrible testimony. Horrible. That was years ago. About, I don't know, 20-something years ago. Horrible. But it still hurts me to this day. So it's one of those things that it is what it is. But I can see, but I love the fact that it happened to me in one way because it now teaches me a lesson of exact representation of how he does deception. He uses our sinful patterns, first off, to give the person a simple pattern of devaluing God. And then secondly, because when using that pattern, all left to then happen is the timing. Something has to happen and the right timing. And he's like, you're going to compromise your values all day long. Because he knows you will. And I did. Yeah. I just hated myself back then for that. I'm just telling you. We've all been subjected to being deceived by Satan. And if you act like you haven't, then you're lying to yourself. I'm just telling you because I'm up in front of everybody telling you. Just to be honest. It happens to all of us. There's the hard one. The last one, the influencer. Oh, that ain't funny at all. That one is the most covert. Because remember, when you're in harmony, I wrote down something. Harmony, think about harmony. When it's done right, you can't even pick it up. Even the most trained musical ears like, I can't pick up on the part. Because you know why? That means they're that precise. So it talks about precision of detail. It talks about their repetition of practice to get to that level. And the commitment to do it. That's what that speaks to. So when you talk about how Satan is Paneros, the influencer in your life, he's not going to be that way now. He will in the heavenlies. When you're wondering, I don't understand. Temptation and deception seems pretty bad. The influencer can't be that bad. You don't understand. I'll tell you what, to know how hard it is to deal with him as an influencer, next time you hear music, you can hear melody, you can hear rhythm. You not all the time can hear harmony. If it's done right, you're going to be like, I can't, what was that? I can't pick up on who's who. If it's done right, it's done precisely with detail, with repetition practice, and that commitment, that excellence is so good, you can't discern it. And then all of a sudden, that's how he is as an influencer. He's that precise. He's that executed in his delivery. He knows how to indirectly use sin, because he's directly planning these. He's been doing this for a long. He's planning this coup against you and me. He knows he's about to get locked up after the tribulation's over for 1,000 years. That's going to happen. So what's he doing? He's laying the stage to go, oh, you think I'm going to lose? No. Not without taking you down with me. A third of you will go down. And so he's going to make you go down. So he's just methodically putting forth seeds. He is getting more precise, more committed repetition of how sin will leave its thumbprint on this world, that when we have in millennial reign, we have to interact with it. He's like, I will leave behind a remnant of my evil, indirect influence that I will make sure I tear you down, and you won't even see it coming. That's how good he is. I'm just telling you, you cannot. It's hard enough dealing with tempter and deceiver, Satan. Any Satan as a deceiver and Diabolos as a tempter, that's hard enough. The Paneros as the influencer, oh please, I don't want to deal with that. That's just totally off the chart. That's just like ridiculous. It's insane. And you couldn't. Oh. Yeah, there's a couple of people I like Southern gospel when it comes to that music and everything, and there's a lot of people that have these like the Tallies or the Martins or the Booth brothers for a bunch of three brothers. I mean, they sound so smooth. It's just some people just have that. It's just it's a beautiful thing. But for me, what also brings up is about music is, remember this. When you first hear music, I was asking somebody the other day, I was at this function, and there was a praise person who was highly touted, from a Dove Award winner and Gospel Award winner and all these different accolades that this lady had. And I'm like, okay, I've never heard from her in my life. And she had a purple gown on, and she was studded with diamonds, kind of like a trim and a diamond cross in the back. Nice lady, seemed nice enough. But I couldn't hear hardly anything she was saying, because the bass was so loud. All I could hear was, Jesus, boom, 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 Jesus, boom, 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 Jesus, boom, boom. I like bass too. Would you chill out, man? Good gosh. I can't hear a thing you're singing. It's so, it's irritating. Now, maybe I'm old. Okay, I'm old. I can't hear what you're saying. So other people in the whole crowd, younger folks that were less than half my age, and they go, I don't know what she was saying either, man. Really? Good. I don't feel alone now. So it wasn't just me. Everybody else was just saying the same thing. So I'm like, so there it is. So I heard something about Jesus. I heard something about changing, something about, I heard those words. I heard a couple words here and there. So what am I saying? Satan knows when people start hearing music, the first thing you are attracted to is the timbre, which is how it sounds, right? So you just had that timbre, T-I-M-B-R-E. You hear it and you go, whether it's the vocals or the music combined, whatever it is that you just like it. And you say, I don't know about why I like the Beatles. I just like how it sounds. But you listen to the words, you're like, that's off. Well, I like this guy or that gang or that group. Listen to the words, and you're like, that's off. Who thinks behind that? Satan. He's not stupid. He knows that we like melodies and rhythms and harmonies. And all we care about is how the melody and the rhythm and the harmony sets a timbre of how we are acclimated to a sound of vocals or music combined. That's what we like. That's it. And that's what determines us to decide if I like that song or not. And then later we check the words. Satan's like, fools! That's the first thing that should matter. But it doesn't. And how is that the case? Because he's like, no, because you don't have a chance to hear the words first. What first is played is the beat, the rhythm, the melody, the harmony. You hear the timbre, basically. You hear it. But the first thing you hear is the timbre. So you may hear boom, 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 boom. The first thing you hear. That's the first thing you hear. And you either decide you like it or you don't. You don't even know. I could have the same timbre, and I could take an R&B song, a country song, a rap song. You could take a heavy metal song, a hard rock song, I don't know what, bluegrass song, folk music song, hymn book song. You can take any genre you want, Jack. And if I can take any genre you want. The genre is not the issue. That is a fat lie. It's not the issue. Because every of those genres can be just fine. As long as the words are consistent with the scripture and glorify God. But that's the problem. They don't. And so they want to make it sound like, well, you're against my genre. No, bro. I'm against your words. Your words are pathetic. They don't have anything to do with God. Nothing to do with scripture honesty, of accuracy. If they're talking about God, they're off. And most times they're not talking about God at all. They're way off the reservation. And Satan does all of this to do what? To gin up our emotions. Because when you get us emotional, we call it what? In the spirit, hallelujah. Really? Really? And what does the emotion? So don't lie to me now. Is it the beat or the words? Don't lie. It's the beat. Liars. I saw it myself. I saw it from my eyes. And people say, I asked them later on, hey, what made you dance? They go with the beat. There you go. So you just confessed that the words didn't matter. The first thing that made you get up and dance, that you claimed in the spirit, was the beat. Stop lying to yourself. Stop it. Satan wants you to lie to yourself and go, oh my gosh, that music makes me want to dance. Okay, does the words glorify God in his word? If it doesn't, then I'm not saying music is bad. This is where Footloose comes from, right? I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying pay attention to the words, man. Pay attention to the words. They should glorify God in his word. Does that mean every single song should be, and the book of John said, the book of Mark said? That's not, no. I'm saying it should contain a direct or indirect messaging about God, honoring God, his word, honoring the truth of the doctrine of his word. That's what I'm saying. Every song. Which is why, long ago, I told you before, I used to collect, back in the day, I'm dating myself, we used to collect cassette tapes. I'd get the latest and greatest one at the store. I'd go buy it. And I had a whole plethora of them. Oh my gosh, hundreds of them. And as soon as I came to know Christ, it was a couple, I don't know, months into it. I didn't know nothing about what I'm saying right now. I just knew that that was making me behave in a different way. And so I didn't like how I behave now, let alone then. And I said, I don't like that. So I took a hammer out on my kitchen floor, and I just take every cassette tape and just started bashing it. And those tapes cost me about $8, $10 a piece. And there was hundreds of them. And I was just destroying them. So you should have just sold them. That's what someone told me. And the church, they're young kids. And I go, well, that's like taking someone else's soul. That's like having some cocaine and saying, I'm not going to do it. Hey, you want it? No. If I think it's wrong, inherently, that's why I'm destroying it, then why would I give it to somebody else? That makes no sense. I need to destroy it. If I think it's not healthy for me, how it's healthy for you? So that's why I destroy it. But does that mean I don't hear music that doesn't glorify God? No, I still do, because guess what? I'm a sinner. I'm not picking on nobody. I'm just saying we all like music, and none of us are apart from that. All of us like music to some degree. Yes.
Yeah, when my mom got saved, music, and I was 11, she had the biggest wreck for that in my life. And when I got saved, it's kind of something you should do. It's like you're supposed to get rid of those things.
Supposed to purge.
Yeah, like I used to have thousands and thousands of dollars in media rights that were like, and I just kind of, because it was part of something that's personal in mind, I just threw it out.
Yeah,
I give it to someone else at that point because it's something I believed in. And yeah, they're cool in the sense, but it's still something that someone can use in a different way.
And
at the end of the day, it's a rock. But there are people that believe.
and this is why for me, like for example, there's a song from Mike and the Mechanics, and it's called Living Years. And that song is based on human relationships. It's a secular song, but the words are very very good. If you know that, if you want to hear that, if you want to listen to that song, or just listen to the words, it's very piercing, and it deals with something I can't get into because we're on live recording here. That deals with an actual family life event that I've experienced, and I can tell you that the words were so appropriate. Secular, it was edifying though to the relationship of a human being and it was actually valuing how God should be more a part of your life if you see it from that angle. Did the song talk about God? No. Did it emphasize God? No. Did it lead you to think about God? No. If you're already predisposed to think that way, could you see God in the story and how the relationship needs to be learned from what was being talked about? Yes, absolutely. And therefore, I think songs like that are okay, because that does lead to a benefit of you growing in your walk with God. But if you listen to the words of that song, it's unbelievable. But to me, the danger of that was that became this one person's song that they held on to as their balm. Whereas when I lost my father-in-law, the first male figure in my life that died, I heard the song Praise His Name by Sherry Easter. And I cried almost every single day to that song. That's a spiritual song with spiritual words, with 100% truth in it, it just resonates with my soul, and I cried. I still to this day cry when I hear it. So I'm telling you, there's a difference. So he cries when he hears this song. I cried when I heard this song, but his was less biblical based. Mine was 100% biblical based. Guess what happened to him later on in life? He got in counseling with people that were not biblical based, that were about helping human beings, and justified it by, hey, they're helping me. See, it's a slippery slope when you start. It's okay to have one of those as a one-off, but that becomes your foundation of your musical choices. Just you stay with the indirect message all the time. That's not good enough. You got to have direct messages of God coming in your ear hole, or else what's that all about? Classical music is good in itself, because that was all based upon that to begin with, right? So I'm not trying to sit here and meddle in your life. I'm just saying that Satan is in charge of music in the heavens, and he's no slouch at affecting that on earth. Just understand that. The ministry of music on earth, guess who? Satan. So get it through your head, and before you start going, well, I like this person. He said I can't. I'm not saying nothing. I'm just saying we are all being manipulated by Satan as soon as we hear music on the radio. As soon as we hear music on the iPod or the iPhone or what we want to call it, I'm telling you right now, he is waiting to influence you, and he's waiting for a door to open up and the crack to open up to take into your brain, into your ear hole, something to get a foothold. And why is that important? Because those memories of that good time, those memories of that pain, those memories of that drama are now linked to that music. That was what? God-based? No. Who wins in that situation? God or Satan? Satan does. He loves that. He loves having you not have anchors in your life of pain, of blessings, of drama not attached to a memory of God. He wants God to be the least thing on your mind, to deal with your life pains and anguishes and highs and lows. He does not want that to happen. That's what the part music is supposed to play in your life, for crying out loud. Yes. Sorry. Oh yeah, when they're doing the drum, yeah, they're beating the drum. So there's a lot to be said here. There's more to be said. I got a Friday for Q&A. We'll convene again on another session of Satan, getting a little bit further into this, and then two more sessions, one more, and then a wrap-up session on him to review how everything ties into the false teachings as well. So let's close and finish in prayer. Father, we thank you again for this opportunity and time we've had together with you to continue to grow and learn, understand how it is that you continue to show us to understand the enemy and how he works. Help us to be cognizant and to be aware and to be just astute to hearing your voice and your word. Help us not to be drawn away from his lies, into his deceit. Help us not to feel the temptations of the eyes and the wants and the temporary happiness. Help us not to be deceived into those things that he wants to manipulate and misrepresent and exploit our pain. Help us to be humble before you. Help us to cast our cares before you. Help us to be subject to you. Help us to strive ourselves to be in the faith, so that all those things together will allow us to stand, to oppose him. Please, Father, help us to do those things, so that we would also be leery of what goes into our thoughts and our eyes and our ears, but we allow ourselves to hear, see, and think. May it be subjected to you first and foremost. I start with myself and confess that I have not done that the way I should. No, I can always do better. Help us improve, help me improve, and be better children and servants before you, honoring you in everything we think, everything we see, everything we hear. that we come back to a representation of remembering through the highs of life, the lows of life, through the pain, to the blessings, and the dramas of life. Help us to have music to use, to earmark those events, to remember you, to have the melody and the rhythm and the harmony of your song, of your voice, of your truth. Make a memory in us forever and ever and ever. May it resonate forevermore, because we know in the heavens that's what it shall be. So we ask all this in Jesus, Yeshua's name we pray. Amen. Hit myself in the head, now I got a headache. Sorry about it. I'm coughing, see. Oh, wow. You got it.